back in the States, a lot of the challenges that our people face there. So we pretty much, we lived in America. We lived in all the major cities, Atlanta, Miami, Memphis, Cleveland, pretty much everywhere on the East Coast. So after some time, we pretty much discovered that it was the same almost anywhere we went. Most of the African American neighborhoods were dealing with the same issues. And those travels, being able to travel throughout the states, is what made us want to seek out something completely different from what we had already experienced.
Mm-hmm. So, we have 195 recognized countries in the world. What made you choose the continent of Africa and then specifically Senegal?
Well, we already had a connection here in Senegal. My husband actually had a connection here. His mother sent him as a teenager to study. So he came over to study for a couple of years, then he came back to the States. So we have a community here called Medina Bay, and Americans have pretty much been traveling back and forth within this community for a while. It is an Islamic community, so many of them travel back and forth to study Islam and learn the purest form of Islam that we could attain in West Africa. So that mission was started by someone named Sheikh Hassan Sise. He actually came over to America and was helping African Americans come back and learn about Islam and Africa and our West African culture.
Okay, so was it primarily because you're Muslim, or was that just a plus?
It definitely had a lot to do with it. It was probably, I would say, at least 80% of the reason why I wanted to come. For me, I actually had reverted to Islam, so I was a new Muslim. So for me, in America, I had seen Islam from the Black American perspective, and I saw it from the Arab perspective. And I wanted to see it from the African side as well. So it was a way for me initially. I was like, okay, I initially just wanted to come and say, I just want to get closer to God. I want to, experience it all. So that was a push for me to come here. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that being said, what is the I'm not Muslim, so and I lived in Guinea for a year and a half. Um, but because I'm not Muslim, I'm not able to tell like what's the difference between like Black American Islam, Arab Islam, and African Islam. Are there any differences, or what has been your experience?
Not really. It's besides the cultural aspect of it, no. Pretty much, all of, there's only one Quran. All of the Qurans say the same thing. We all have the same beliefs. It's the same system. What you'll find is that most cultures individually put their own spin on, I guess you can say. So you'll see in the Arab communities that a lot of times they're a lot more stricter, per se. From my experience in the Black Muslim communities, it was it wasn't as strict. It was a little more laid back, but even the ways that like the messages are delivered, maybe it's a little bit more like comparable to church style, like they stand up and they teach that way. Whereas in Africa, since we were here, pretty much everything was in Arabic. The lessons were pretty quick, short, and to the point. So, there are just little things that were different. And I think that the biggest thing that I noticed is just being here, we were able to actually see people living the lifestyle consistently. So living as close to the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad as they could. So that is something that we find back in the States is really hard to do. There are a lot of challenges that are placed in the way in order for you to really stick to that. But here, like they pretty much stick to it to a T. Like Senegal is a 90% Muslim country, so you know you can hear the call to prayer going off at the mosque 5 times a day.
40,
Whereas
4:45 a.m. baby.
yeah. Whereas back in the States, you know, that's it's not happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to be surrounded by the culture is a totally different experience versus to just be a part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of being a part of it versus being in it, you know.
Right, right.
Mm.
You know, it's interesting because being in Guinea is like 99% Muslim. So literally, like, no matter where you are, you're going to hear the call for prayer 5 times a day, starting at 4:45 in the morning. And for me, it was a really good experience because being here, like you said, you don't get to really experience other people's religion that often. So being completely immersed in a Muslim society, it was actually a lot different than I thought it was going to be. They were way more accepting of me just being who I am than I expected. I was a little nervous about that. I thought it was going to be like, you know, I thought they may be like on me, but everybody was so respectful. And, you know, it was like, because they do have a small percentage of non-Muslims. So it's just like, you just have to know that at certain times you're not going to be able to shop. You're not going to be able to do anything. And I got used to it relatively easily. So I'm sure with you being a Muslim, it was probably just like, yeah, I could just do me, right? We can just do what we do and not have to really worry about the the larger culture or the larger society, because you are the larger society there.
Yeah.
For more on this video, please click the link in the description below. Thank you.